My name is Ros Griffiths, born in Lambeth, made in Brixton.
What was your connection to the uprisings?
I grew up in Brixton and I was a teenager at the time, and living in the area, we were frustrated about what happened to the young people that died in the New Cross fire. That was the talk at the time, that there was a saying that 13 dead and nothing said. There was the march first, and then which led to the uprising that took place in Brixton.
Did you participate in any of the protests or anything that was going on at the time?
Yes, I did. I took place in the Black People's Day of Action. I was a teenager still at school, and I remember the teachers actually locked the gates and said that we can't go on the march. So me and a few others decided that we're climbing over the gates to go on the march, because I felt at the time I needed to be part of what I thought was the revolution. It was a day to protest. That was my start of marching and making a stand.
What do you think were like the main causes of the uprising?
I think the main causes of the uprising, it's basically how people who looked like me was treated. Very disrespectful. There was an Operation Swamp in my area at the time, which meant that they could stop and search you for suspecting that you might commit a crime. So there was tensions bubbling within the community. It was frustrating that, the police were heavy-handed. They just was disproportionately stopping and searching Black people. And there was some altercation, and the word got around in the community that the police is killing a Black person.
What do you see as the legacy of the uprising in Britain today?
It was a watershed moment. It changed race relations. For the first time, the government actually looked at what was happening a bit deeper than, there are a set of young people or the Black community just upset or unhappy about a few things, but look into what was driving this dissatisfaction, the discrimination in employment, discrimination in housing, discrimination in education. So they had to look a bit deeper into what was the underlying causes for people feeling displaced, disenfranchised. Nobody felt that at the time that they had a voice. Nobody cared. So the legacy was, I think it was the beginning of community engagement, that we needed to engage, have a dialogue on how we could be part of change and not exclude us or make us feel less than adequate, that we have a vital role to play in society. So the legacy still lives on. And when I look back 40 years, I can see lots of changes. We still have a long way to go in terms of telling our stories of what happened in the dark days of Brixton in the 80s and how we overcome. But one thing for sure, in those days as a teenager, I was very angry. I had a lot of frustrations, but I didn't let hate win. And I felt that there's a time in my life where I wanted to be part of change. So that was part of the turning point for me, that I didn't want to be consumed by hate and frustration. I wanted to be part of change.
How has your life changed since the uprising, and how has it affected you?
Growing up in this community, you always remember there's always a trigger. There is disproportionate of stop and search. Racism is still there. I feel that it has impacted on me in a positive way because I wanted to be part of change. I didn't want to just have memories that remind me of the dark days. So I forgived my past, and I wanted to give peace a chance, and I wanted to be part of change, make a better, reimagine what the community could be like with me in it, to use my creativity, my energy, and be a force for good and not a force for evil. So I would say it's a mixture. When I reflect, Yes, there are memories, and I remember those dark days as if it was yesterday. But I didn't let that experience turn me into a bitter person. I wanted to use it to shape the world that I would like to live in, and for my children to grow up in, and my grandchildren to grow up in. So I wanted to be part of change. So that was a turning point for me.
How do you think England's kind of like viewpoint on people of colours like changed? Do you think like the uprisings had like any effect on it?
The uprising for me was the first Black Lives Matter that I participated as a teenager, and it was a starting point to have that dialogue that things have to change, but we have to be part of change, and people who we can find a solution together. But what we need to demonstrate is respect for each other as human beings. We're all equal. We're all born equal, but we're not treated equally. And we have to have different perspective on things. That's what allows us to grow. Can't have the same people thinking the same way. Life will be quite bland. It is colourful. That makes a culture rich, doesn't make it poor. People should be encouraged to be part of change, their voices to be heard, and to want to be in a better place, to treat each other as human beings. It's not enough to just get up, go to school, learn, then maybe go to university and then go to work. It's not enough. Our lives, it's about helping others, not hurting other people. If you look around this great place, Brixton, there's lots of stories, and you get a sense of that culture that is different from anywhere else. And I've gone to many places in the world, and they know about Brixton. So it is special. So I'm glad I was part of Brixton. I am part of building Brixton now, because I'm working on a legacy project called Reclaim Windrush Square, which is just outside here. And it's to preserve our history, our heritage, tell our stories. To live in Brixton is not enough. You've got to understand the history in its entirety. And our lives didn't start, my life didn't start from the uprising. That was only one section of my life. But some great things have happened in Brixton. And I'm proud to be a Brixtonian. And it's more than a place, but it's fluid, it's forever changing. I love what Brixton was, is, will be.